Hello and welcome everyone to the second episode of SEO Surgery in India. Today we are very excited about this episode because we have three amazing guests, one from the UK, another one from Israel, and Ravi from India. So I'll probably just quickly introduce them and then leave it to themselves to introduce because I don't want to spend the whole episode introducing themselves, right? All right, so probably I'll start with Andy. So we have Andy Drinkwater with us. And apparently he doesn't drink a lot of water. That's what Craig says. Okay, so
someone had to say it, didn't they?
yeah, exactly. So Andy, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Andy Drinkwater, and I'm an SEO based in the UK. Worldwide clients, I don't sort of just focus on the UK. I've been in the market now for 18 years. October this year will be my 19th year of SEO, which seems like an absolute age, but you see a lot of changes in that time. I tend to focus more on the technical aspects of websites. It can be on page as well, but I like to sort of look at the back end of the website, see what's really going on from that point of view. So yeah, that's me in a very quick nutshell.
Thank you so much, Andy. I didn't know that you're in the industry for 19 years. I think that's
19.
more or less my age.
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah. So Andy, what's your favorite SEO aspect these days?
If anybody follows me on Twitter, it has to be internal linking and site structures. Yeah. I'm seeing some huge benefits coming from that as well, both in terms of sort of like ROI when a website gets it set up just right, because the positions will increase in Google. Conversions will generally sort of come with that as well, unless the website's got other problems as well. So certainly like setting a site up, site architecture, and the internal linking side of things.
Cool, that sounds great, and that's my favorite topic as well. So high five.
Excellent.
All right, thank you so much, Andy. Wonderful having you. All right, so moving to the next guest, who is Liraz from Israel. She works at Outbrain, and she's amazing. So now, Liraz, could you please introduce yourself now?
Yes, sure. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Israel-based. I work at Outbrain for the last 2 years. I've been doing SEO and content marketing for the last 10 years. In Outbrain, I'm responsible for all the SEO efforts and content efforts, content marketing, and that's it.
Cool. Thank you so much, Liraz. And what's your favorite SEO aspect these days?
Well, because SEO has changed a lot of these years. We used to buy links a lot at the time. So today everything is changing and we're trying to earn links. We're trying to build the right content for our audience and tie everything, making sure our messaging is very personalized. And this is what I'm focusing on today, making sure I'm tailoring every message and every content to the right audience and making sure that that basically will bring me my natural backlinks that I'm looking for. This is the main thing that I'm considering now in my SEO aspect.
That sounds amazing. There's a lot to learn from you, I'm sure. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Liraz. All right. So moving to the last but not least guest for the show, who is Ravi Soni. He is co-founder of Observe, and he's I think the first SEO that I know, first SEO ever, because when I joined Flipkart, when I started my professional journey from Flipkart, so I was assigned this team called SEO. I didn't know anything about SEO apart from the full form of it. And then Ravi was working there in SEO team. He was taking care of SEO that time, and he helped me understand what SEO is a bit. And then I started my journey. So thank you so much for all the motivation, Ravi.
Oh my God.
Wonderful having you, man. The stage is all yours now. Please introduce yourself.
Hi guys. I think Nitin has actually bragged a lot about me, and yes, we have done a great job at Flipkart by collaborating and creating some intuitive solutions which really helped us to create new dimensions of growth. Now, something about myself. So I will define myself by what purpose I have for my life. Yeah. So my purpose of life is to save the world from the Third World War. I want to work for water. Right. And presently, I'm just helping brands to co-create the exponential growth. That's how I define myself. And rest all is what happens in life. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ravi. For a moment, I thought I'm talking to a politician here. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. And Ravi, what's your favorite SEO aspect these days?
So these days I'm focusing more upon how can we go more deeper to a movement of a consumer, because I realize that the better you create the movement for the consumer, the better you can create the experience, the content, everything around it. So that's what I'm focusing upon. It's just that realizing that what is the actual movement of consumer. It could be like going more deep in identifying him, and then relating and targeting across the dimension. That's what I'm going at.
Cool. Thank you so much. Well, it's great to have you all here. I mean, I think today all three experts have different favorites in SEO, so that's a wonderful combination, I would say. And I think all of us are super excited hearing your thoughts on the three websites that we have picked. So before we move there, so I will introduce myself to those who doesn't know me. I'm Nitin Manchanda. I'm working at Trivago, and yes, and today I'm your host for the show. And so about the website, so we got a lot of website. Thank you so much, everyone, for the wonderful response once more. And again, like this format of this show, so we have picked three websites. One is Flower Aura, another one is Way to India, and then we have Intex. So these are the three websites we'll be auditing today. And for others who submitted their websites and they are not picked, unfortunately, apologies. Give it a try in the next show, and then I mean, you can just tweet to me or Anton, and we'll try to pick your website for the next episode if you are our regular user or visitor. Yeah, so we'll try to do that. And yeah, and keep asking questions in the live chat like you always do. Let's challenge these experts after the show, or not after the show, but once they're done with their important stuff. Yeah. Okay, so now without wasting any time, I would move to the real stuff that everyone is looking for. So let's talk about Flower Aura and see what Liraz thinks about this website. So Liraz, stage is all yours now.
Thank you very much, Nitin. So first of all, I got this website, and I must say it's a highly impressive website. So thank you for giving me it. Some facts that I can basically can talk about this website is it's Drupal based. It's an e-commerce. It's an 8 years domain age. It's all focusing on flowers delivery, cakes delivery, gifts, everything that basically can make you happier. It's HTTPS, of course. It has really nice speed on Google page speed when I check the leading pages. So we see there is like SEO focus there. And when I search, I don't know, when I'm searching this website for the top keywords that it's ranked on birthday cakes and flowers on top position. So we need to bear this in mind, because I'm not sure that most of the people that are searching flowers specifically are wanting flowers delivery. So maybe we should bear this in mind. Maybe Google sees as an authority for flowers, maybe a kind of flowers, different kind of topics of flowers. So we need to bear this in mind and make sure that when we're optimizing the content, we need to make sure that we're also creating some kinds of explanations or educational content about the types of the flowers that we have in our bouquets and everything. So I will share my screen. I will start diving into the SEO. Sharing.
Liraz, are you there? Cannot hear you. Your screen is frozen. I think we lost Liraz for some reason. All right, so let's wait for her to join. Meanwhile, I'll probably ask a question to Andy. Yeah, so Andy, there's a question from Mogis Ahmed. And the question is how to reduce spam score of a website. What do you think about it?
If it's the Moz spam score that they're referring to, then they actually produce, and bearing in mind this is just Moz's own metrics, doesn't mean to say that everything that goes towards shows on this goes towards a penalty or anything like that. So there's various things you can do with this. Now, the list that they produce, I don't necessarily agree with. everything that's on there. So I would say that if you're actually looking to reduce the spam score and you're actually looking at that, do look at best practices on there. If you've got an affiliate site, make sure all your links aren't so like do follow links, no follow what's appropriate in those sorts of circumstances. But it depends on what it's actually found, because they do have different aspects to the score itself. It's a little difficult without knowing exactly what it is that it's picked up. I know it'll give a score like 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 7 out of 15, whatever the scores are actually based on. So tread carefully with what you see on that as well, because I say everything might not be what it seems, because obviously Google is constantly updating. You don't necessarily know if what you're going to see on that is going to be something that is actually a problem. So a bit awkward without actually knowing exactly what it is that's causing the problems, though.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very. I mean, I think there are 1,000 answers to this question, and you answered it really well. I mean, it's kind of subjective, and if we know more interesting numbers about it, and then only we can talk about it. So yeah, thank you so much, Andy.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
We have Liraz back. So
sorry, I don't know what happened. I had to read.
No problem at all.
Something happened. Yeah, typically.
No problem at all.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to share again. See if anything is. One sec. No, thinking that. One sec.
Yeah.
Now you see my screen, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so we're back
Perfect.
on. Okay, so when I first get a website, I personally look on its source. So it's a really nice website. Just take a look. It's a really nice website. A lot of filters, a lot of options that you can basically choose flowers to, flowers delivery. So let's take a look on the view page source. And what we see here, what we will see here, it's basically what we're seeing is a lot of CSS and JavaScript files. You will see it in a sec. There we go. CSS, JavaScript files that's just lying there on the code and messing it up. I will totally combine them all together into one piece and make them an external files, because it's really messing all the code, as you can see here. So this is one thing that I'm looking at the code. Another thing that we can look, I just ran the site on Screaming Frog, and what I've seen that it's in a glance that we basically the meta titles are really, really long, and it's really cut inside the search page results. So just make sure you optimize them. It looks like a bit, like keyword stuffing sometimes. So you need to make sure that you're aligning them. You have even the meta description. Sometimes you have, I've seen like I don't know, like 200, really a lot of meta description. It's really long. So I know that Google just released like a fix for, like you can expand the meta description for 320 characters, but just bear it in mind, because basically what we want to do is to encourage people to get, you see my screen, right? It's like, because I didn't hear you.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. Sorry, because I still see some technical issues here. So, so what I would do first, I would just optimize the meta description and meta titles to make them more appealing and more actionable for users to click on. Because I've seen some, I don't know, like huge meta descriptions that basically contains the whole page content. So just make sure that you optimize it and earn. It's an easy fix to earn a CDR. Another thing, I've done like a site audit on Semrush, which is my favorite tool. I use it on my day-to-day as well at Outbrain. I just ran a site audit, and what we see is really large amounts of errors and warnings that you can take care of. What's really that I think that I want to highlight is we have lots of duplicated content issues that we need to fix. We need to make sure that our content is unique and serving the right content for their users. Because you have so many options and so many pages, just make sure that you're serving unique content for every type of page. Another thing that I've taken a look is the robots.txt, which is like, I would skip all this intro and making sure that we just starting from here. And even though like you have like an external links that coming on just like credits, so we don't need them really. We don't need them. So just make sure that you remove them, remove all this intro, making sure that you have a really clean file. Another thing that I've taken a look, another thing is with Robots.txt is that you need to create a redirect from the non-www version to the www version, because when I look here, like not giving me the Robots.txt file. So just make sure that you create the proper redirect there. What else can I say? Oh, we have CSS Sprite. Like you need to use more of CSS Sprite because you have multiple background images on the web pages. You just make sure that you're doing it. Just make sure that you're combining all the CSS files into one. As well as a Semrush, what I've seen that a lot of your images doesn't have any alt tags. Just make sure that you're doing it. I totally recommend just have an overview and a site audit and a Semrush, and just make sure that you're doing. It's a really good checklist just to go over. I can go over this with you, but I think it's just like a waste of time because you have everything here. Duplicated title tags, meta descriptions, errors in sitemaps, and broken links, broken internal images, broken internal linking. I don't think you're using a lot of internal linking as well in your website. What I've seen with basically, when I look in your desktop page, which is really impressive, I was like a bit confused. It's more like, I don't know, like it's an SEO, it's more a CRO, like conversion optimization, but it's tied up together with SEO, right? So when I looked at the desktop version, I was a bit confused because I have all these options, right? I have all these options to filter and to choose the best flower and the best cakes and the best gifts for me. And I was a bit confused and I was looking for less options. But then I ran into your mobile site. Let's take it here. This is basically your mobile site, but it's like you see it's a subdomain. I can just show it to you in a mobile view, let's say. So what you can see here, it's like really nice and clean. And now I can breathe and see and dive into all your options and making sure that I have everything, testimonials. It's very clean. I will drop the subdomain for the mobile. I would just use, especially that we're going into the mobile index, mobile first index. I would personally use this design for the desktop and making sure that, this is what I love in mobile design. It's minimal and it's taking what's important for the users. And this version of the design was really giving me some air to breathe, and I had time to look and search what I love and search what I need for. So I think this version is much more better than the desktop one. I would totally use one website for mobile and desktop. Would make the desktop responsive to you. We don't need to maintain another website, especially when we're going into the mobile first. Because of backlinks, when I look at your backlinks, some of the backlinks were a little bit, like fishy, like money keywords, as we say. It's more like a very exact term keywords. So what I would do, I would just make sure that I would just diverse my link building, diverse my backlinks, research a little bit to make sure that we're doing a lot of things that can show Google that we're not, proper buying links, or doing something that look fishy. Another thing that I've seen here. I want to talk about CRO a little bit, about UX. When you search, like in your search bar, when you search, no one is searching for keywords except us, except SEO. So just make sure that you're doing your search page a little bit more appealing. Sometimes you need to be more engaging with your search, because sometimes it can really bring a lot of great results for you guys. Even when if you're 404 page, let's say, I'm just going to type anything here. With your 404 page, it can be much more optimized than that. It can be, something that's more appealing to users to search for something. I don't know, I can search for cakes, and then, I can search something, just show the right thing, just show more, optimize the search results page. What else do I want to talk to you about? Oh, another thing that's bothering me is that when let's take, anniversary. Let's take this this category page. Okay, I'm going into a category page, which is an anniversary. I'm searching for flowers, and I want to search for the content inside the page. I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling, and then I want to get to the content, and I can't really get to the content because it's really below. You see, I'm keep scrolling. You have the pagination above here, and it keeps scrolling me down, and I can't even reach the content. And you have really good content here, so why not reaching it? So what I'm saying, just, you know, you need to decide if you want the infinite scroll or just use the pagination and show fewer selections or fewer options for the users. But if you do want the content to be user-centric, you need the users to get the user like a way to get to your content. It's a waste of time for your content if it's not reachable and not saying anything for the users. I can't even reach it. And as you know, that Google knows this information. Google knows if the users are getting into the content and scrolling it down. And if they're not, so the content is useful. It's like content is not useful. It's useful only for search engines. You need to make sure that the content is user-centric. I would personally combine more content in the upper area. I would totally combine. I will reduce the amount of the options that the user can basically pick here, and making sure that he has the right options here. Yeah, well, another thing that I wanted to talk to you is when Nielsen says about UX that 5 to 7 options is the best way to show content or decision making, let's say, for the users. The user can check if he wants something, decide if he wants to buy something or to make a decision with up to 5 or 7 options. And you have too many filters here, so that's great that you have really large amount of products to show in your cart, but maybe sometimes less is better. This is what I would do. I would totally make sure that I will take the mobile design here, adopt it to the desktop, bringing more air, bringing more content to the upper area, use more internal linking. I don't see a lot of internal linking in your content. So this is what I would do. And another thing that I want to showcase is that when you have some, you see it like really nice of, I will go in an organic search, you have really nice growth of organic. But I wanted to showcase that when you have these pages, which are like the most, let's say, highlighted pages that you have on your website. So yeah, I see that in Google Page Speed, you're doing the right things in order to optimize the speed. And another thing that I want to show here is on Pingdom tool. Yeah, so you can use also this for good, really technical checklist. All of these browser caching, all of this performance, just like you can just optimize it. Minimize redirects, combine external CSS. You're using a lot of CDN images, so just making sure you're using it properly. Google has lots of information on how to use CDN in your website, and making sure that you're using it right and optimizing it for search engines. You have lots of requests, lots of things that happen in the background until the page is loading. So I would just go by this list and making sure that we're covering this. And that's it, I'm thinking.
All right. Thank you so much, Liraz. That was really interesting. You can probably stop sharing screen now.
I did, no.
No, not
One
yet.
sec.
So that was a lot of interesting points that you shared in given 10, 12 minutes. So thank you so much for that.
Great.
And now I would ask Andy and Ravi if you guys have something to add here, which Liraz couldn't talk about because of time constraint. So
yeah, I mean, just very quickly. I mean, the only thing I really saw, I mean, obviously, like I said, I've not had an awful lot of time to look at the site itself, is in describing the page titles for some of the pages, they're very, very short. So, I mean, I'm talking to the point where I said they've got some like 1, 2, and 3 words for a page title, which, as you know, isn't going to be particularly helpful for click-through rate for Google or for anybody sort of searching as well. So I would definitely say take a look at all of these page titles that are too short, and there are a lot of them as well, and see if you can improve on them. Make them something a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Andy, for adding that. Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah, so I would like to add one more point over here. So while analyzing and having an overview, I figured out that there are many pages which are HTTPS, but they're pointing to the old version of HTTP. So which might confuse Google and derank or like reduce the flow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ravi, for adding that. That was all about Flower Aura. Yeah. Thank you so much, Liraz, and everyone else for adding all your points. So now let's move to the next website, which is waytoindia.com. And Andy would be talking about that. So Andy, stage is all yours now.
Lovely, thank you very much. Right, okay, so a little bit of a slightly rushed audit on this one, because obviously, like I said, we've not got lots of time to go through everything. So what I've done is I've fired the site through primarily Screaming Frog to look to see what I can find at the top level. When you actually look at the site itself, though, I can't see, in terms of the usability, I can't see too many issues. So let's just go on to screen share first and foremost and make sure you can see what I see. So how does that look? Does that seem about right, does it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, wonderful stuff. Right, okay. So what I've done is I've made a few points on here just to go through what I've found. And the first one is a bit of a pet hate of mine, and this is meta keywords.
Andy, could you please go to this presentation mode? That'll make the screen bigger.
Of course. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Now then, I'm just in Google Docs here, so let's have a look to see if we can make that a little larger. Are we? There we go.
Yeah,
is that a little bit better there?
Yeah,
wonderful stuff.
Much better.
Okay, lovely. So meta keywords are in use across the site. Now then, anybody that knows what Google's like knows that they don't use sort of meta keywords anymore. Haven't done for quite a long time. And I particularly don't like use of meta keywords because apart from anything else, it shows clients and competitors what keywords you're trying to optimize for as well. So we've got all sorts of keywords in use through the site. That we've got duplicates. We've got ones that are used multiple times as well. But as you can see, like I say, going through the pages, I mean, it's pretty much it's throughout the site. Some pages or some areas have them, some don't as well. Now then, I know some people will say, oh well, some of the other search engines, Bing and Yahoo, use them. Bing and Yahoo use them to a much lesser degree than they're used to as well. And it's now a little bit easier to get penalized based on over optimizing keywords as well. So first point there is, I would say, look at the keywords. Are they actually doing anything for you? Chances are they're not. So I would probably say to back out of using keywords site-wide. So the next point I have here, images on the site itself as well. Again, if I just move over to here. So what we've got is lots of pages where, let me just find these here. Lots of pages on the site where we've got images where they start here. And then all of a sudden, I mean, bearing in mind the type of site it is, you buy these sorts of services based on what you see as well. So you want something that's very visual. And when you come to a page and you've got dead images like this, then it doesn't really help people coming around the site as well. You're going to be missing out on opportunities from Google. You're going to be missing out on opportunities from appearing in image search, which if you were to put images in there, maybe you want to watermark them, you're going to get something back from that as well. So do look at the site images. Now then, they just appear to be hosted locally. They don't appear to be so like on a CDN of any sort. So it just appears to be that the images themselves are sort of missing at the moment. So if I just go to most of these, so you can see. I mean, there's quite a number in terms of like the actual images here. There's like the producing 404s as well. Now then, if I look at the full list of these, you're probably looking at around about 800 images on the site which are actually missing. That's a lot of opportunity. It's a lot of missed opportunity in terms of what people are seeing and image search also. So moving on to the next point. So this is sort of like a two-part of this one. So we have as well HTTPS on the main site, but then there's a blog on a subdomain as well. which is not on on HTTPS. So as you can hear, so you've got travelblog.waytoindia.com. This is open for discussion again. There's two schools of thoughts with this. One is that, yes, Google will look at a blog on a subdomain and use it the same. The other school of thought is very clearly is put it on your primary site as a folder structure because you'll get more back from it. Personally, I see a lot more when you take it out of a subdomain and put it into the site itself. There's more and more evidence to sort of point towards that. And I know it's been discussed to death over the last sort of few years as well. But you don't tend to see as many now powering the blogs on a subdomain. So I would think about pulling that back out, pulling it into the main site. Apart from anything else, like it keeps everybody on the same domain as well. You're not being taken off somewhere else as well. And as I said, this is a two-parter, because if you were keeping it on the subdomain here as well, the primary site is secured on HTTPS, the subdomain isn't. So you've got two issues there. So you've got the one, which is this even in use anymore? I mean, it may have just been slightly sitting around, having been there for a little while. But if it is, I mean, if you look at the data that 2016, I'm sure if it's something that's just been left over, then it needs to be resolved. Or if it is something that is being used and just maybe not very often, like 3 years out of date, then do look at the fact that it is sat on a non-secure domain. Okay, and then as I say, that was a two-parter. The next one is a particular bugbear of mine as well, and this is where you get pages with multiple areas of pagination. So who is really going to click through 30 pages to see everything on there? I like to try and go for, personally, I'd try and go for something, and not to go to the point where it gets ridiculous, but if you go for something like a bit of a scroll, an onload on scroll, then it makes it easier on the searcher. Google can still see everything in there as well, and you don't have to click, because again, there's a lot of research that shows the more clicks you have to make, the less people are going to get down there. So I mean, 28, 29, 30 pages on, who realistically is going to get down here? And the answer is probably nobody. So look at how the navigation is actually handled. And again, there's lots of areas where this is actually in use at the moment. And it doesn't appear just in the travel deals section. It's in use in different areas through the site as well. So do look at how this is used. They don't use rel next on this. All they're doing is these are just links, and then they're just using canonical back to the first page as well, which isn't a major issue in the way that they're actually doing that. But the fact that there's so many in there would cause concern for me, and I'd certainly be advising do something about that. What have we got next? Right, so this is something that again is going to be causing problems to the site, and I'll just bring this up in Screaming Frog as well, because some of the page titles here are absolutely huge, to the point where if you look at some of these as well, these are going to, and I suspect they're all automated, which again, there's not a problem with that, but you've got to sort of do it carefully. Once you get past a certain point, which is 578 pixels, I think it is, roughly sort of 60 to 70 characters, depending on what's actually in there, then it's going to either get truncated, and means that you're going to be missing what's actually in there as well, or Google's going to want to rewrite it, and at that point, excuse me, at that point you're going to lose anything that you particularly want to say as well. Now then, this is a little bit of a problem for them as well, because there's a lot of them. So there's almost 900 pages which are going to end up getting truncated or rewritten by Google as well. So you lose a lot of benefit from if you're spending time writing good page titles, because let's face it, I mean, that's what people are looking for. If you're in the SERPs and you see something about the Whispering Meadows, you want to know what it is about that. Is it finding the best hotel deals there? Which, if you look at these as well, parts of these are duplicated. Might not be as much of an issue further down, but you do want to make sure that what the primary message you're trying to give over is actually shown here towards the front as well, and not something towards the end. I mean, it's that long, like I say, some of these you're just going to have to sort of keep going to try and find the end of them. So look at them carefully. The descriptions, the meta descriptions, they're not as much of an issue, although if you look at some of these that are in use, I know that, like I said, we've got the canonical in place for lots of these, but there are some missing. You've got different pages here which appear to have them not necessarily duplicated, but there are some there which are quite similar. And are they all sort of written for the page in question? Probably not as good as they can be. So there's definitely more can be done with that as well. And let's have a look. There we go. And the final one that I found here is there are an awful lot of really big images. Now then, the problem with that is that size-wise, we've got mobile first around the corner. Anything you can do to speed your site up now is going to be very, very important. And if you've got, as they have here, so many images that are really big, that it's going to slow sites down. It's going to slow the page loading times down as well. Now then, I did do some timing on some of these pages as well, and the images are taking a lot of loading. So if you're on a mobile, if you're on a 4G connection, 3G, depending where you are, you want something that's going to load nice and quick. These aren't going to load nice and quick. So I would look at, again, the images that are in use on the site. Try and find something that's a little bit quicker, or try and find a way to optimize the images themselves. You don't need to upload and have a full-size image in there. Crop the image to the size of the page, optimize it. There's many online free tools that you can actually use to do that as well. So so that's the, is that the end one? Ah, no, there we go, one more. There's 100 no index pages on the site. Now then, again, some of these you can sort of understand why you'd have sort of like no index pages on there as well. But I'm always a little bit cautious when looking through these, because no indexes can be added to pages without necessarily knowing. Is it something that is supposed to be there? Is it something that isn't supposed to be there? And if you look at some of these as well, I'm not convinced that all of these should be no indexed. I would certainly have a look through them, because I can't see any reason why this particular one on this resort is no indexed. Maybe there's a reason behind it, maybe there isn't. Do look at the use of the no index and see if that's something that can be improved upon as well. So that's pretty much everything that I found on the site in terms of issues. Like I say, those are the main ones. I could have pulled a lot more up as well had I had a little bit more time, but yeah, those are the primaries.
Cool. Thank you so much, Andy. You covered a lot in these 10 minutes. And
yes, I'm trying to get through everything as quick as possible.
Yeah. And you can now stop sharing your screen. And I'm wondering how distracting this episode is. I mean, in the first website, we saw some mouth-watering cakes, which made me super hungry. And now in the second one, we see a lot of interesting places. So I'm thinking about my next vacation already. So amazing stuff, man. I mean, I think it's really hard to focus on SEO part because you have a lot of distractions there. But anyways, amazing stuff, man. Thank you so much for that. So now I would like to ask Liraz and Ravi if you guys have something to add here for this website, which Andy couldn't cover because of time constraint, which he mentioned already.
Well, I need to add something. What I've noticed is below the main CTA, you have click here to have multiple options to pick from. And you've been redirected to the sitemap page. And I'm not thinking that this is the best page you want to show for users in order to convert, or maybe you need to reorganize or redesign this page to make sure that the site is showing more categories, more content for the users. So just in terms of that.
Cool. Thank you so much, Liraz. Ravi, do you want to add something here?
No, I think he covered almost all the points. Just one
Yeah.
point I would like to add is in terms of the content structuredness on the website. So
Yeah.
there are many pages where there's this swap between the headings, and there are a lot of pages where there's no headings at all. So I
Yeah.
think if they can slightly focus upon that, they can really prioritize the way they want to showcase the content over there. Yeah,
Cool.
and
That's a
yeah,
valid point.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. And he mentioned a point about pagination where you have like thousands of links in the bottom. So there, if you're an engineer, probably you understand this binary search concept that can help you reduce the number of links in the pagination section you have. And there's an article about that. So I was trying to find it, but I can probably tweet about it later on. Or if you have any questions around fixing that, so I know a solution. I can probably help you with that. So you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys. All right. So moving to the final website of the day, which is intex.in, and who will be talking about that is Ravi. So yeah, he's already on the screen. So he's super excited about sharing his stuff. So Ravi, yeah, all yours now. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Nitin. I will just share my screen. Yeah.
Perfect. And Ravi, can you also? Yeah, perfect. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
This looks fine.
Yeah, looks fine, but I think there's a way to move to presentation mode, because right now we can see your browser header.
I don't know how these guys do this. I think it should be.
Yeah, then it's fine. I mean, you can start with it probably, or probably can you? Uh, yeah, looks fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Sorry, Ravi. If you just want to go into in Google Docs, you can enter that just by going into the mode itself. You just go into View and Mode, and then Viewing. If you want to go into that.
which one?
View and
View
Mode. Yeah. So if you
and
go into
mode.
View and then you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into Mode
exactly.
and then Viewing.
Viewing, the last one. Yeah.
How does it
It's
happen?
still the same. Yeah.
I think let's go. I think
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we have prepared this document. So I will give the credit to my team as well. So they have really put their efforts in figuring out a couple of aspects of index, and it's a very big website with the estimated traffic of around 10 million. That's what we estimate. The estimated traffic is around 1 million per month. And so here's a brief about the website, that which is the technology and the framework of the website. I think they have more than 9,000 pages index. Uh, Normally, whenever we are auditing a website, we use couple of tools. So these are the common terminologies which people normally use when they're using Majestic SEO as one of the tools. So yeah, trust flow and citation flow are being referred over here. uh, it has to this has to be close to one, the ratio, and it seems that okay, they need to do a good job on the front of trust flow. The speed of the website looks fine, but I would request, or I would suggest, that it should be at least 85 when we are focusing on Google page speed tool. Page authority is okay, it's 52. Domain authority is fine, 45. So yeah, so like these are a couple of terms which really help you to understand about a website, that how and what kind of efforts we are putting upon the website, and how effectively the team is adding the content and the backlinks on both the fronts. We have found that okay, there are almost around 2,000 referring domains. I'm pretty sure that Intex is a well-known brand in India, and we have been receiving a lot of PR releases, and people are discussing and conversing about them, which has really helped them in generating these reference domains as well. The website is mobile friendly. It looks good. Yes, both the things are present. The sitemap is present. The Robozer text is also present. They do have meta tags across the website, but I believe that they are unoptimized. They're not optimized right now. one understanding or one good fact about the website of the Intex is that they have around 1.2 million users traffic per month. But interesting fact is 70% of them are brand searches, which actually reduces my total non-brand traffic to be 30%. So it looks to me like there's a huge scope of growth over here. And yeah, so yeah, we use Semrush as one of the important tool whenever we are doing or auditing a website and whenever you're actually optimizing a website. So here there's a screenshot of the Semrush report, and this as Leela already explained that how effectively it will give you all the errors, warnings, and the quick fixes which they can do, and it actually does a great job. Yeah. So let's move down. So there are a couple of things which I would like to say that okay, they have done a good job. Yes, they have a very good brand value and authority, which we can see by the referral domains we have. As per our analysis, their majority of backlinks are not, which are not toxic, which is a good point and which is a plus one. Portal is intuitive. It looks good. It looks intuitive in terms of the user experience as well. And while looking at their source code, or like whenever you look at the inspect an element and look at the code, it looks like that these guys code well. Yeah, good job, guys. So let's come back now. Let's figure out that what are the concerns we have over here. So no doubt the first and the most important thing is the speed of the whole website. I believe that we can do a good job over here by making a quick tweaks over here. So no doubt mobile is really important for us nowadays. So yes, this is a very common problem which we normally face with the other e-commerce clients also. No doubt it's because of the live coding and development of the website, but yeah, it can really help us out. Server response time seems to be low. We can do either by leveraging the cache over there, or let's figure out that what is the best way to do it, and if we can get more access towards it. Yeah, there are no expiry of the content is being set in the pages. If you want to leverage, it could really help to improve the user experience, because the website has a like a number of images across the whole, like different pages, so it will really help. One very important thing which we found, where even the Google Analytics code is plays inconsistently across the website. Sometimes there's no Google Analytics code. If you will go to the category pages, you won't find the Google Analytics code over there. Till yesterday, the Google Analytics code was in footer. Now they moved it to header, but yeah, that's fine. But I'm sure that there are pages which are being treated as a landing pages, which they have used for the promotions, or might be highlighting the ambassadors of the brand, and they are being linked from the main website. But as what I see, they have the code in the footer, which might be hampering their traffic or the growth of in an indirect way. Yeah. So the website is, doesn't look secure. You guys need to move to HTTPS, because the kind of brand is being considered. And if you see that, okay, someone has a great personality and a good amount of money, or then they also dress well as well. Yeah, this is a kind of a relevance which we see in the online digital brand also. When you already have a good brand credibility, then a couple of features are being like seems to be obvious from a brand, and it will really help you in growing the traffic. Yeah, it just should look like this. If you go to flipkart.com as well, you will always see a name over here. So it really helps you to generate a good credibility. This is also a very important issue. This is a huge website. They have a content focus, they have India focus, they have a couple of more countries focus. So they have used they have used the tags, hreflang tags, and by using the alternate tags, but it has to be self-referencing tag. So right now, what they have done on all the pages, the links are to the other domains, but no, I guess they should be to the specific pages as well, just like we do in the canonical fund as well. So it's a small trick, but it will really help you guys. So let's come to the subdomains. So whenever you will go and visit the Russia specific pages or the Kazakhstan specific pages, the titles and the meta tags are exactly same, which what they have for India. I will just give an example of Nepal, and you will see that okay, Nepal and India has the same, almost similar. So I would suggest that if you just remove India, or we can make it slightly more personalized, as what I said initially. Let's figure out that what is the right movement of that consumer. If a person is in Nepal, then let's create everything across and around the consumer. So it will really help you and make it more relevant for the users whom we are targeting over there. So so they don't have a content on the product pages, product category pages. So as we've shown, if I will just show you over here, you will see that they have the pages, but they don't have the content at the bottom. So as per my understanding, Google do add a lot amount of relevance to the page by what kind of content and how well the content is structured on the page. So if you will see, I am using a small example of Flipkart. So this is the bottom part of the of like the smart variables page, where you have the products on the top, but at the bottom they have a structured way of putting the content over there. It really helps them to align the page and make it more relevant, because whenever you will go to the text format of the page, you will see a lot like it will look like it's like highly or over optimized as per the keywords. That should not be a good thing to have. If you will go for the title tags, so they are also not optimized. This is one of the tools which you use. So it's like the home page title tag. I believe using it a more contextual way, targeting it for the specific keywords, which really help them to improve the organic traffic. That's why I said that okay, there's a there's a long way, or they can actually make the traffic 10x by very slight optimizations. If you have a look towards the heading tags, so there are many pages which don't even have the heading tags as well. I think it's an important aspect where you want to showcase a prioritized content, or put a very prompt, in like a very prompt way over there. And some of them, they even have exactly the same title and headings are same, which we believe that if you want to add more value to a page, then let's keep them different. It will really help us. Yes, to make it more relevant and the content to be more intuitive to Google, let's use the schema.org, which will help us to create a schema like that. It will really improve the CTA, and yeah, that will eventually improve the traffic as well. So it's a very essential thing which is also missing on the website. So they don't even have the self-canonical tags, and which I believe that there are places where they are using the hashtags and where they are filtering things also. So somewhere it will create a duplicacy of the content across the website. Yeah. So it's just a small understand that okay, what I actually meant by doing it for people. Yes, this is what I already covered, that the page title and the H1 tag both are exactly same. So I think if we just look towards it and make it more personalized for the page, whenever the user is already landing over there in more detail, it will really help us. Images don't have all, yeah, and that's again one more essential thing. If you see, we don't have the alt text for the images, what they have, and even the website is more image heavy. So I think there's one dimension, like a big dimension we are missing out, and that could really help us to boost the search traffic. So when we are optimizing the website for SEO, we are actually not optimizing only for SEO. We are actually optimizing to improve the user experience as well. So it like goes vice versa. If you do this, if you do, you actually do that as well. So when I say breadcrumb, so you won't find any breadcrumb across the website, and which really adds value to a user to navigate the website. He doesn't get lost, and also it helps Google as well to index and have a structured flow of movement across the website. So that's an important point. Internal links, so that's again a big point. We don't keep the internal links to be no follow. If we do that, we are actually disallowing, or we are actually saying Google to not to go forward. and we are losing our authority of the internal pages. So I would suggest that just check it out. Might be it will really help you if you just remove that and have a better flow of juice and make it a more complex web of internal links. We found many like there are more than 50 broken links on the website, which is not a good sign. We can actually 404, improving the 404 is also a good idea, but yeah, making them more of a live links is a better idea. I will so this is the last point. So AMP is one of the important features which is recently launched, and it can really help us on the content front. They have a so it's a combination of three focus, more of a product listing and the content and a brand oriented website as well. So if we can use the AMP functionality for their content front, it will really help us out. So just one more point. So like this is the triangle which we normally use it observe when I said that we are actually investigating and creating a concept where we can make everyone enable that how they can create a good content. So that's and this we can use, and they can also use for it. One very important growth hack, which is so they have this compare feature on their website. So if you compare 2 phones, the URL is same. If you compare 3 phones, the URL is still the same. So, but assume a situation where you have 100 phones, and if we go by the probability which we have read earlier in our live, so you can make more than 1,000 pages by just and they all are unique pages. So this is how they can actually get the exponential traffic as well. So yeah, then I'm done. I think.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravi. You took more than expected time.
Okay. Sorry.
So, but yeah, you shared interesting points. Thank you so much for that. And now quickly, I mean, we have another 1 minute, which I can give to Andy and Liraz if they want to add something for the same website.
Yeah, I would love to. I have 2 points, basically, just quick ones. Just a small hack for you guys if you would like to earn back your backlinks. I've seen lots of broken backlinks. So just try to earn them back by fixing them or creating redirects or approaching the website owners to earn them back. And another thing that I've noticed is that you have like 2 similars, like I've seen a huge portion of pages that are giving back 403. And when you're looking on a different URL, like really similar URL, it with just an added of an S, basically you get it 200. So just make sure that you're going over all your index pages and making sure that all the similar pages are either combined or either redirects, etc.
Cool. Thank you so much, Liraz, for adding that. Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch on another point that Ravi also mentioned as well, which is the use of, or the lack of use of canonical tags as well. Because one of the issues that the site faces in doing this is sort of duplication, because there are a lot of pages that have capitals in them, sort of capital letters. So if you have a page with a capital letter, try it without the capital letter, it delivers that as well. Because there's no canonical tag in there, then they're duplicating a lot of content on the site as well. So I didn't have time to go through all of the pages and sort of see how big a issue that was, but I suspect based on what I saw on the small portion that I looked at, that this is probably an issue for them.
Cool. Thank you so much, Andy, and everyone else for sharing such amazing points about these 3 websites and adding a lot of value for all our viewers today. And now I think we can take a couple of questions. So I'll start with the first question, which is from Khalid Aziz. The question is, which off-page techniques really works? So Liraz, what do you think about it?
I'm thinking that today what we can do is create, use data. People love to link back to data. People love using it on their own studies or own research or own blog posts, and even on conferences. So I think if you have an ability in your company or in your website to use some data, surveys, polls, just use that. A lot of people like to, you can easily link, earn back link easily. And another thing that's really working well is ego baits. Basically, where you're creating a lot of articles with, I don't know, like 10 tips from the best experts out there in a specific topic or niche. well, yeah, they tend to share it. They tend to share it on their social media channels. They tend to share it with their friends, their colleagues, on even on their personal websites. So just make sure that you're doing and earning your backlinks.
Cool. Thank you so much for adding that, Liraz. And yeah, so moving to the next question, which is from Manali Tour. The question is, what is best, infinite scroll or pagination for a product company? So maybe here the question is about from user experience perspective and from SEO perspective as well. So who wants to answer that? Probably Andy, because he already spoke about the similar concept.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it is very much a case of, I mean, if I'm on a website and I sort of see lots and lots of pages I've got to sort of click through, then it does make a big difference to how far I will go. If, for example, you're on a jewelry site, you don't want to keep clicking next to get to the next pages. There isn't necessarily a best one for Google, but there is going to be definitely a best one for the user. If you're unsure what's going to work, try something like Inspectlet, Hotjar, or Metrica, Yandex Metrica as well. I say to actually install some live, or capture some live user data to see what's actually happening, see how many people are actually clicking on them as well. Personally, for me, I'd like to see us like on scroll. I say to actually sort of load a few more options rather than having to keep clicking.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Andy. And while picking the last question for the day, that's from Nakendra. The question is, in e-commerce websites, listing same product in more than one category, does that considered as a duplicate content from SEO perspective? What do you think, Ravi? You are an e-commerce pro.
I think this is a very good question. No doubt, we always. So I will share an example from what we did at Flipkart as well. So whenever you have a camera, it could be into electronics, it could be into any other category as well. It could be as like how you actually show it. But there's always one category which you have as a primary category. So whenever you are creating a sitemap or you are listing or getting it listed, you actually focus upon that only, and that will help you to create the URL. So you have to create a primary URL, and all other URL could be secondary URLs. And while using the canonical tags, you can actually figure out, okay, this is the URL where you have to make it land, and this is the way to do it. And for the other category where you have featured the same product, you can actually use the secondary URLs, but just to ensure that you have to use the canonical as well.
Cool. Thank you so much. And I think when you're talking about different categories, it's very unlikely that you'll have all the same products. So the overall content won't be duplicate anyways. I mean, and if you think that you have two categories serving absolutely same products, then you really need to think about your category structure, because if you're serving the same content, that is not adding any value for the user, right? So you need to think about it once again, I would say. All right, guys. So that's it from today. Unfortunately, we cannot, pick more questions because we are running out of time already. And before we say goodbye to you all, I would like to thank you all for the wonderful response once again and asking a lot of questions. And unfortunately, we couldn't answer most of them. So feel free to catch me, Ravi, Liraz, or Andy, and I will be more than happy to answer those questions, guys. And all right, so now one by one, I would ask our experts to share their key takeaway and their preferred communication channel where people can reach you guys with their questions which are not answered here. Yeah, so Ravi, you can start.
Yeah, I think one of my key takeaway is the variety of tools which all the speakers have used, and yeah, the way of looking at the different perspective of the website audit as well. And I really enjoyed the different perspectives. The second, so my contact details would be, you can reach me on my email ID is ravi@observe.com. It's a 7-letter word with double V and there is no E at the end. OVVSERV.com. Yeah, and so yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Ravi. Andy, you're next.
Right. Okay. So I think probably the one thing I would say is don't ignore the basics. Do follow Google best practices at all times. It's too easy to become complacent and just try and sort of jump into everything. And very quickly you'll find you've got lots of little problems causing you one big problem. So don't ignore the basics, and do do follow up on them as well.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay.
Liraz, you're next.
Oh yes, and if anybody needs to catch me, just catch me on Twitter at IQSEO. So I'm always on there.
He's really active there. He's really active. He's the most active Twitter person I know. All right. So Liraz, you're next.
Well, I think the main takeaway for me is just focus on UX, improve the user experience across your website, and think for your users, not for search engines. Optimize your website not for bots. Do it for your users. And of course, feel free to tweet me. I'm at Liraz at Twitter, so just feel free to. I will answer anything that you want.
Cool. Thank you so much, Liraz. And
thank you.
I'm Nitin Manchanda. You can reach me on Twitter or LinkedIn. You can just search by my name. And on Twitter, I'm at @_Nitman, NITMAN. So if you have any questions which is not answered here, I'll be more than happy to answer you guys. So thank you so much once again for the wonderful response. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.